Something just like visceral inside of you happens when you see the northern lights. Grab the camera, ah! And I was just like running around the car and dancing and screaming like a crazy person. Hi, Team Iceland. I want to talk to you about my favorite topic. This is a drum roll. I'm doing a drum roll. The Northern Lights. This week, Wednesday, I was about to go to bed, and I just thought, I'm gonna look outside, just see what I can see. And you know what? Those northern lights, they were there. And it was the first sighting of the year. Something happens to me when the northern lights come out, and I just like can't control my body. I freak out. I'm excited. I'm like jumping around and screaming, and I'm, like a child at Christmas. I can't explain it. If you've seen the northern lights, then you know what I mean. But if you have yet to see them, then you will soon see. So it's just my favorite time of year. I love northern light season. So if you're coming to Iceland soon, the good news is they are back. They are out and they are here to stay. I want to talk today about how you can see them in Iceland and how you can take good photos of them, because I know that's a big reason why people are coming to Iceland right now. Now, September and October are classically the best times in the fall to see the northern lights, and then again in March and April. So if you're coming in the next couple of months, be ready. There's kind of three factors that I keep in mind when they're trying to just see the northern lights in general. The first thing is that there has to be a solar flare from the sun. The sun, releases this energy and it comes towards the earth, and then the earth breaks it apart, and then it falls on the poles, and then that's how there's like a ring around the earth. That's where you can see the northern lights. So in order for there to be aurora at all, the sun had to have let go of this solar flare within the last couple of days. Rule number 2 is cloud cover. So there can be aurora above the clouds, but if there's high cloud cover, you're just not going to see them. So then this is obviously a big factor in Iceland. So the weather in Iceland is, just so up and down, and you just never know. Number 3 is light pollution. So light pollution obviously comes from cities, buildings, cars, houses, all of that kind of stuff. So a lot of people, if you're staying in Reykjavik, you'll have a harder time seeing the lights. It can be seen. It's just way easier and way more common to see them out, like in the country and away from that light pollution.
So the first website that I use to check is called Geophysical Institute. And you can check basically how active the aurora will be for that particular evening. So anything that's basically above a 2, so you're thinking 3 or above, will be a pretty good likelihood of seeing the northern lights that evening. Here you can see that the ring goes right through Iceland. So I know that tonight the aurora will be active. So that is a good sign to start off with. The second website that I like to check is called weather.is, and this is the local Icelandic weather station. So they do a really good job of showing me what the cloud cover will be like in the entire country. So basically the white is no clouds and the green is a lot of clouds. If you go down right here, there's a bar where you can drag in the next couple of days how the cloud cover will be. So right now this is where we're at, and if I drag towards here, then you can see the clouds rolling in. So for example, if you're going to be in Vik in South Iceland tomorrow night and Wednesday, then you're going to drag that cursor over and see, okay, well, it looks pretty clear for Wednesday night and into Thursday night as well. So you can just really start to see what the cloud cover is looking like. So this is really, really helpful to look at. Website number 3 that I check is called SoftServe News. So for example, say at this point, you know that the aurora is going to be high and active. There's very little clouds for where you're going to be. All systems are go. It's looking really, really good. Then you're going to want to check SoftServe News, because what I love so much about this website is they break it down into increments basically of how active the aurora will be in the next 7, 22, 37, 52 minutes. How amazing is this? I love this. So if I'm going outside and I'm going to look for the aurora and it's going to be a hunting night, then I know in 52 minutes I need to be outside because that's when they're going to be very active. So this is so nice to just check for the activity level within this time frame.
Photographing the northern lights can be difficult if you don't know how to do it. I mean, what are the northern lights if you can't prove that you saw them with a photo, right? Right? I think in general, the better capabilities your camera has as far as being able to manually control the settings, the better luck you're gonna have. Number one, super important, you need to have a tripod of some sort. This is really important because you want to minimize any movement that you have around your camera while you're taking the photo. My second favorite piece of equipment is a shutter release, which allows you to just press so that the camera focuses and then it takes the shot. I think that they're really inexpensive. I think I got ours for like $20 off of Amazon. So the settings on your camera, so you're going to want to first of all have a really long exposure. So with the northern lights, it's dark out, obviously, so your camera doesn't have something like to pull the light in, especially if you're way like out in the country and you don't have a light source. So you want to set your camera to have a long exposure. Usually ours is, we like to do it between 20 to 30 seconds for the exposure. So it's basically during that time frame, it's pulling as much light in it as it can. So it's pulling the colors of the aurora. And then the other thing that you're going to want to manually change is the ISO. So kind of a good rule of thumb for that is I usually set it around 800. This is very dependent on, again, how much light you have around you. So for example, if we're shooting them from our apartment or if you're in the city, then I can stick around that 800. But if we're further out in the country where there isn't a lot of light around, we actually have to bump that number up to almost, like 1,000 or 1,200, because that is basically the amount of light that it's pulling in. Just kind of play around with it. It's going to vary based on where you are and what you're doing and everything like that. Just two good rules of thumb: longer exposure, higher ISO. If you are in Reykjavik during your stay, there are a couple of cool places that you can go in order to see them in the city. The lighthouse down by the harbor is a really good area because it kind of blocks some of that light pollution. And then if you're really willing, then you can drive outside of the city. Last thing I want to talk about is just taking a Northern Lights tour. So obviously they offer tons of tours here. Will take you out into the middle of the wilderness or on the glacier, basically anything that you could want. I think I saw like a boat tour as well. So there's lots of tours. So if you're not comfortable navigating the roads at night by yourself, or maybe you're staying in Reykjavik and you don't have a car, there's tours that go out all the time. So if you want to see the Northern Lights, you will and you can. I've never taken a tour for the Northern Lights, but one thing that I've heard is that if you're signed up for one night to see them and the visibility is low or whatever, they will cancel the tour. They'll roll over your tour to the next night and they'll just basically keep trying until you get to see them. So yeah, so that's what I have for today. Hopefully you learned a lot. Let me know in the comments. Please let me know in the comments if you guys think that these videos are helpful. Have a great weekend and happy Iceland planning.